People tend to follow a trend or a belief because it's popular to do so. Most people just want to fit in, and being someone who forms their own opinions from scratch and varied sources of information is really difficult compared to simply submitting yourself to the collective consciousness. All the while, there are shady figures in the shadows spending billions of dollars to convince the public of something and keep control of the narrative. A proven example of this is when big sugar companies bought off scientists to say that fat was the reason people were getting fat and not sugar. This turned into common knowledge until it was finally disproven, but God knows how many people died due to obesity-related causes, because the sugar industry prioritized profits over the general health of the population. There were so many people who even tried to be health conscious by buying more lean products with less fat or zero fat, but it was mostly for nothing. In fact, some zero fat products substituted the fat for preservatives like sugar and salt, so it was probably more harmful than the regular version of it. Now, surely such an egregious example of corporate greed could only happen in the 50s, right? I'm sorry to say, but I believe this hasn't changed, even with the internet providing information to everyone. Because the quantity of information keeps increasing exponentially, but the quality has actually been decreasing due to things such as generative AI degeneration. Reliable sources are eroding as we speak, and the average person simply does not fact-check every piece of information they receive. Because of course they wouldn't, it's too much of a hassle, but that's how propaganda gets you. Not through a single poster convincing you to throw your life away for the sake of oil companies, but through countless Save Europe edits until you join the army and realize there is no My Little Dark Age playing in the background. Memes aren't safe anymore. There's a whole department about them in the Psychological Operations Division, so even though they're disguised as silly jokes, they can still be very effective psyops. Even YouTube videos aren't safe. Actually, quite the opposite. A lot of videos and analyses I've seen on YouTube actually turn out to be personal opinions disguised as facts. And this is extra manipulative to me because YouTubers are generally more perceived as friends rather than strangers. It's like, hey, your buddy Kyle is just ranting about Israel again and how it should get a full $1 trillion donation ASAP. Because he talks fast and in an expert manner, you assume that he must know a lot about the topic. And it's true. He knows so much about what he believes to be the truth, or what he's getting paid to say, but it's all fake. For example, did you know all cows speak Swahili? You don't think like a cow and you can't speak Swahili, so I'm probably right, and why should I lie, right? What incentive do I have to lie? Even more money? No, surely. There's a limit to my greed. Trust me, bro. And adding to the influencer epidemic are the robots, the clankers. Internet bots and botnets have made it almost impossible to have a civil discussion online. The best example I've seen for this is Reddit. Whenever you go on a subreddit that has a high chance of Fed presence like r/UFOs and conspiracy for example, you'll find lots of weak old Reddit accounts that do nothing but post on these subreddits to deny the notion of the original poster. Or what was really insane for me to witness was thousands of these suspicious accounts popping up out of nowhere on the UFO subreddit when the drones were flying over New Jersey. And I would see posts of extremely obvious airplanes and dark lighting being on the front page of the subreddit. They gained traction at an unnatural momentum, and this was most likely caused by bots